Soy Phillip Hendrix, director general de Coldwell Banker México. Por casi 25 años he tenido la oportunidad de ver grandes historias de éxito en la industria de los bienes raíces, de conocer a personalidades muy importantes y sobre todo de aprender cosas nuevas todos los días. Los quiero invitar a nuestro nuevo podcast, Coldwell Banker por el Mundo. En este podcast tendré la oportunidad de platicar con grandes empresarios de la industria, personalidades internacionales y sobre todo con buenos amigos de todo el mundo.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Quiero darles a todos la bienvenida al podcast de esta semana. Esta semana tengo el gran honor de tener en esta reunión al señor Mark Jhonson. Muchos de ustedes ya conocen a Mark. Él ha venido a varias capacitaciones a México. Y en cada una de sus capacitaciones, creo que nos ha quedado muy claro su gran capacidad. El día de hoy, Mark dirige una empresa muy importante en la zona de Texas, que es una de las empresas que con el crecimiento más rápido en los Estados Unidos. Y como ustedes podrán recordar, él estuvo muchos años con la organización de Tom Ferry, donde fue un coach y cada vez ha ido creciendo en sus responsabilidades. Una de las cosas que más me gusta platicar con Mark es de sus aventuras. A él le gustan las cosas extremas. Ha participado en un sinnúmero de carreras importantes, ha participado en Spartan Races, también participó en una carrera que se lleva a cabo en el estado de Iowa, que involucra cruzar en una semana en bicicleta todo el estadio, y su aventura que más me gusta es cuando escaló el monte Kilimanjaro en África. Sin más, Mark, how are you doing, my friend?
Phillip, I'm doing so well, and thank you for having me on your podcast. I can't wait to spend some time with you and your audience here.
Well, this is one of the first times I'm doing this, so I'm a novice at this, but I'm sure that we will have something of great value and something that our listeners can use and implement in their businesses.
Absolutely. You know, the word of the day, I think, for you and I is persistence.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know, as I think about what you've done and what you've accomplished and all the great things that your team has accomplished, and I think of the team that I'm leading, persistence is the key thing. And as I think about you and me, the one thing you can't give someone is something that you don't possess. And I know that you believe in yourself. I believe in myself. But some of the folks we work with that are struggling don't believe in themselves. And it's hard to be persistent when you don't believe in yourself and what you're offering, right?
Definitely, definitely. When do you think that being persistent is essential?
Every single day. Every single day as a real estate professional, as a broker owner, as an operator, as an office manager, whatever your role is in the organization, every day is the day to be persistent. And I think some of us avoid being persistent because we confuse pressure with persistence. And they're two different things. Pressure is kind of a bad thing. Persistence is a great thing.
I've always believed that to be successful in everything we do in life, there are two key components. Mm-hmm. Endurance, meaning you have to stay in the ball game, and persistence, never stop swinging.
Never stop. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Well, I absolutely agree. And endurance is hard if you don't have what I call a North Star. If you don't have a real reason for why you're doing what you do, to support your family, to help your children get into school, whatever reason you're doing it, if that's not strong enough, you won't have the endurance. And so, and then once you have that endurance, the persistence requires you to empathize, to adjust, to move forward with a new approach, to maybe adjust your message, to create more value. And after all, who is in the best position to take care of these clients other than your audience? They're in the best position to take care of them. If they believe that, they'll be persistent.
Definitely. I do definitely believe that. What do you think that when we're persistent, what are we transmitting to our clients?
When we have persistence, what are we transmitting?
Yes, when we're persistent in pursuing a client and following up with a client, what are we transmitting?
Yeah. Unlike pressure, which is uncomfortable, when you're persistent, you communicate that you genuinely care about them. You communicate that you're confident and believe in your abilities. You communicate that you're understanding their situation and your specific solution that you believe in. And you're communicating the many reasons to continue to move forward. And so those are things that you communicate when you're persistent.
So we could say that persistence is caring.
It is. And it's believing. If you don't believe in your offering, in your value, you won't be persistent. But if you believe you've got the best solution for the consumer, you're going to do whatever it takes to deliver the right message. And Phillip, there's 6 habits that I've documented of all the persistent people I know. Would you like me to share them?
Sure, we'd love to.
So the 6 habits that I see of the most successful, persistent real estate sales professionals I've ever known is, first, they openly celebrate what they do. I'm proud to be a real estate professional, and I'm not shy about telling anybody about what I do and why I do it. Here in the US, for every 2 homes we sell, it creates 1 job in the local community. What I do has an impact on the local economy. And I shout that out. So 1, we openly celebrate what we do. 2, we have a cause. Like what I said, for every 2 homes, 1 job is created. That's a cause to help people lift up, to have better jobs, better incomes, and to provide for their families. People who are resilient fully expect to encounter resistance, right? So they intentionally prepare for the resistance, for the objections, and they don't take that resistance personally. And finally, they use the resistance and objections they get to gain additional insight and to add more value.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think that when we start in any venture that we commit to, and the keyword here is commit to, we know that there's going to be a lot of changes as we travel forward and as we move into the business.
Right.
And I think that the only true fixed component is our desire to keep on going, to keep on trying, to keep on moving forward.
I absolutely agree. And wouldn't you agree that to have that desire, to have that endurance, to have that persistence, you have to believe in what you're offering. You have to believe in the company you work for the values, Phillip, that you stand for, of integrity. If you don't believe in your product, you're not going to be able to have those traits. Would you agree?
I definitely do. Do you think that the most important component of successful real estate agents is persistence?
Well, first, I believe the most important component is mindset, and having a strong, healthy mindset. And that leads to the belief, the persistence, and the endurance. So I do believe and we'll talk about this in a minute, that the base of, let's say, the success pyramid is a very strong mindset.
Talk to me about the success pyramid.
Yeah. So I think you noticed the other day, I posted a graphic on my Instagram, and it had a picture of a pyramid that, and I had some caption about the success pyramid. Well, as a real estate professional, your audience probably wonders, how could I be more productive? How could I sell more? And the answer to that is not necessarily harder work. The answer is that there's 4 components that we need to achieve any outcome. And the first component at the base of the pyramid is our mindset, because without it, we're paralyzed. Phillip, you and I could have the best strategy in the world, yet if we struggle with our mindset, there's going to be no action. So mindset first. And second is the game plan. How you and I were talking earlier about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They go into a game with a game plan. And how am I going to get from A to B? And then third is the skills, the selling skills, the presentation skills, the knowledge of the market. And then finally, at the top of the pyramid are all the tools and resources that many of us gravitate towards first. I need the new shiny penny.
Right. As we're heading into the home stretch of this year, what would you recommend for all our listeners to be ready for 2022?
Besides a solid mindset, I think there's a balance between what I call influence strategies and control strategies. Let me explain what I mean there. Influence strategies are all the things we do to work our sphere of influence, to work the relationship, to work the people that know, like, and trust us, that have done business with us. I need to continue to double down and build on my existing relationships. In addition to that, though, we need what I call control strategies. These are the things like online lead generation, outbound calls, and all of the kind of lead generation things that are more predictable. And you put those 2 things together with a strong mindset, and you'll be ready for 2022.
Well, we have discussed in the past that the major impediment that we have in life is right between our ears.
Mm-hmm.
In mindset, in our mind, controlling the thoughts that we have and putting aside the negative thoughts and pushing forward. What can you tell our listeners about pushing forward, about strong mindset, about deliberate actions?
Yeah. So the first thing is recognizing that your thoughts, you don't have to acknowledge every thought, right? I think there's a quote, just because the birds fly over your head doesn't mean you have to let them make a nest, right? So the first thing is, we're going to have these random thoughts like, I don't feel like it. Matter of fact, those are the words that kill more dreams, more success than any others, is I don't feel like it. Well, I don't feel like doing a lot of things, but I do them anyway, because my commitments, my goals are bigger than my distractions. And my commitments and my goals are bigger than my random thoughts that what I call the drunk monkey in my mind might come up with, like, I don't feel like it. Well, it's a exercise. It's a discipline that you can learn over time. As you start to hear the words, I don't feel like it, you can say, I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway because my goal is bigger than my feelings. And you practice that, and you practice it, and you practice it. And eventually it becomes a habit and a pattern. And now you're slaying dragons.
I love that. A few years back, I spoke with our affiliates about it and the drunk monkey. I even had a little monkey with that would click the and I think that's really our worst enemy.
It is.
It puts us in a position where we become defenseless, we become frozen, and we cannot move forward. And breaking that drunkenness of the monkey can only be done through discipline. And I know, I think you're one of the most disciplined people that I know. And I remember a story that you told me when you went to Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
Tell me about that story. I love that story.
Well. So a couple stories in Kilimanjaro. You're in Africa. You're climbing to 20,000 feet. You're so high that Phillip, you can see the curvature of the earth from the top of this mountain. But the day that you make the summit and you come back down, you're exhausted. I mean, I was physically exhausted. I came into the base camp thinking, I don't know if I can make it out tomorrow. Should I quit? Should I give up? Because it's the first time that a vehicle can come get you and physically take you off the mountain if you chose to. 4 of my teammates chose to, and they had the car pick them up. And, the drunk monkey was telling me, you just ought to get in the car and go down. It'll be easier. And I said, no. I disciplined myself to say, okay, I'm not listening to you, drunk monkey. I'm gonna rest. And when I get up in the morning, I'll make the decision. And I'm so glad I did. I rested for several hours and I got up and I was totally refreshed and I was ready to go. And that last day hike out was one of my favorites because it was kind of like the Tarzan movies. It was like what you expect Africa to be, with the monkey swinging in the trees and the birds and I would have missed all that. And if I'd have quit, I would have missed the commitment that I made to you and others that were helping me raise some money for a charity. And I didn't want to let those people down. I didn't want to let me down. And I'm so glad I didn't listen to the drunk monkey, because that was one of my favorite, most memorable days, was that last day out to the final finish.
So what you're telling me really is the rewards are beyond our comfort zone.
They absolutely are. And it's like exercise. It's like one day you decide to walk for 5 minutes, and the next day you decide to walk for 10 minutes, and then maybe you end up walking for 30 minutes. It's like a muscle. You're going to build it the more and more you practice. It's not that we're ever going to stop these thoughts from coming. I had the thought I wanted to quit. I was exhausted, but I had trained myself to recognize the thought and to switch it, to have a pattern interrupt, to say, okay, I'm not listening to that. I want to go this way because my goal and my commitment and my desire was different than my feelings.
Wow. I'm going to close with that statement. I like that statement. I'm going to close with it. I want to thank you for your time, Mark, for your friendship, and I look forward to our next session, my friend.
Same here. All the best to you and your amazing team.
Thank you so much, my friends. Take care.